back to Off Market. We are ready for a huge episode today. The guys are pumped already. We've had some trouble controlling them, but you ready to go, guys?
Can't wait.
Feeling
We're already out of the starting blocks.
fired up.
Yes.
I know.
Yeah.
Before we get too deep into things, we do want to say congratulations to Shane, because since our last episode, little Sienna was born.
She was.
Beautiful little Sienna.
Yes.
How's it all going?
Look at my eyes.
Shane's cranky.
So he's a bit grumpy today. Nappy.
Cranky.
We've had the nappy conversation.
We've had a lot of conversations.
We've had the no time conversation. Mate, 20 more years to go.
All right. Just hold it together for 30 minutes for us, would you?
One take.
We are in another beautiful location today. Very, very lucky to be here at the Eclat Sales Suite in West Perth. Eclat will boast 40 residences over 9 stories on Collins Street in West Perth. Built by one of Perth's most in-demand luxury builders, Palazzo, and designed by the award-winning Edward Bollig of Bollig Design Group, Eclat is set to be a stunning piece of modern architecture. In addition, the team at Moda Interiors will personally work with each buyer to create their perfect home. If this incredible project has piqued your interest, please get in touch with the team from IQR WA to register your interest, or come on down to Collins Street and check out the beautiful display suite. So the Crib team have been really lucky to work on the marketing for this project from start to finish. It really is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
So come on down, guys, to West Perth if you are interested in having a look. We're going to go straight into it.
Amazing builders, but it's not just the project. Like typical apartment, people like that building on Palazzo, is it?
Palazzo.
Pretty amazing.
And also, as I was saying earlier on when I was talking to Alana, who's the boss behind the camera, just how in West Perth, and our guest today, none other than the
Number one
preeminent
agent.
West Perth person in the world, Mr. Richard Self. I'm sure he will attest to this. It's fantastic to see not just apartments, but really high quality apartments come into West Perth, which is that renaissance it needs. So it's not. It sort of moves away from that whole office sort of stereotype
CBD
into
vibe.
it is an amazing place to live, Kings Park City and all the
So
rest
close
of it.
to everything. It's always felt like that. It was waiting to go.
Yeah.
It didn't go. So I reckon it will this time.
Hopefully this is the beginning of
Hold. We're not in a hood highlight.
Well, sorry, just we
I
ran with
appreciate it.
I
So
haven't
does
bought-
Rich. But we want him on stage while
we're
you're
pros.
on stage.
He's probably going to debunk everything we've just said.
Yeah, I know.
He is.
I thought we were good, mate.
He's trying
You
to
were
pump it
good,
up.
guys, but we're going to hold that
okay.
for the next
Right.
segment.
He didn't
Ross,
disclose. He's just bought a place around the corner in West Perth. So it's just going to absolute pump up.
give himself a pat on the back. Roscoe, kick us off with Under the Hammer. How's the auction market going? Because I feel like this must be the perfect time for budding auction agents to stretch their legs, surely.
Jess, it is. It is the quintessential auction market of all time. Still frustrates me how not enough people are jumping on board and really embracing what it's all about. And for me, Jess, it's not just about the auction itself. It probably goes beyond that at the moment. It goes into this whole level, and I know we've mentioned it before, and I'm seeing it more and more, this whole level of transparency, because there's a lot of frustrations out there in the market, people missing out. And the one thing the agents are making the phone call to say, hey, Jess, I'm sorry, look, unfortunately you weren't successful. And there's this destruction of hope and aspirations that go with that. The thing with the auction process, and we've had a number of very, very successful auctions in the last few weeks, is everybody has that opportunity to pay that $1 more. And what drives that home? 2 auctions last Saturday in particular I was involved with. One of them was in City Beach, up around that $1.7 million mark. Even at that level, we were down to $500 bids. So it just everybody has the opportunity to go that one extra, and nothing's left on the table, but nobody can ever say I wasn't given the opportunity to go that one step more. And I think at the moment that is a really, really important thing. I think auctions are creating that that opportunity for the buyers to secure the property if they wish, as opposed to being that phone call being made to say I'm sorry, and invariably they say, but Jess, I would have paid more, but they didn't have the opportunity. And I'm loving that at the moment. And to me, that's the absolute edge of the auction moment, is just that transparency, and everybody has the equal opportunity to secure the property. And I think that's a really good thing.
I think there's 2 things on that. Is for the first time in a long time, I think probably started mid last year, and we did speak about it, telling other buyers there are other offers. It was even in the doldrums of the market, no one believed it.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, really? I thought the agents just said that. They actually know they're competing now.
Yeah.
So to go through that, and we use it all the time, the process to be that transparent, whatever process it is just knowing that owner has given themselves the best opportunity. Because I'm probably seeing too many properties and hearing from buyers saying now, Shane, are you going to open that on the weekend? And we're saying, I promise it'll have at least one home open. But I'm still seeing agents saying sold before home open, which to me, like, unless it's some rural property in the middle of nowhere, why would you do that? Like, as an owner, how do you hand on heart know you've given yourself the best chance? And the second thing is, which I've spoken to a couple of guys you're dealing with auctions with, do you think that it's time we brought it back to 14 days? Yeah. Because keeping buyers, the anxiety through buyers is through the roof at the moment.
So clarify that, because currently it's a 28-day...
21
day.
Traditionally, what we're doing now, you're on the money there, Shane. What we're doing with a lot of guys is we do weekend 1, weekend 2, and the auction's on the third Saturday, if you like, which is sort of 14 days.
We're getting clients at the moment putting in offers, and we had that one in Stirling. Like, Shane, I need to know because I've got my eye on something else. Not trying to play hardball with the seller. They're genuinely concerned if they miss out on this one and they're still tied up pending an offer, do they miss out on another one? So I think for agents, I'm not an auctioneer, but I think you could almost look with technology to bring that back to 14 days.
Oh, you can. Well, and look, the thing, Shane, is, and you go back to that whole 14-day concept, it's if you have the 2 weekends, like Saturday 1, Saturday, Sunday, if you like, Saturday, Sunday, and then you can do the auction, say, Wednesday, Thursday night at 5 o'clock. And that gives everybody ample time to do what they have to do. And the other key, which sort of brings that into play, is the fact to give people, the buyers, that security that the rug won't be pulled from them, is to say, will not be sold prior.
Yeah, and that's what they're after. They're getting sick of going to the, look, we're all guilty of it, selling it on Friday night. Unfortunately, couldn't get there and say, look, it's not happening. But to know that they are actually going to have enough time to speak to the bank, speak to their broker, and they might be the best buyer of the field. It's not the first buyer, but potentially the best buyer. So whatever process you're choosing, if that's not auction, as long as you're allowing that, I think it's really important.
Jess, I feel the winds of auction blowing all the way to Gosnells.
I
just feel it.
I feel them blowing
That's the Fujitsu.
to the next segment. But that was great. Well done.
Okay, I'm getting the hard looks here. You better move on.
We do want to stick with kind of this theme today, though, because it is crazy out there. Obviously, we're still seeing all of these headlines around tenants and buyers saying, tenants are having to get pet CVs now to even get a look in. I went for a walk the other day and in my little neighbourhood of Yokine, in my little hood, and there was all these cars on the street, and I thought, what the hell is going on here? It was 5 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon, hundreds of people walking down the street, and it was a home open for a rental. So I want to know from you guys, March 30 is coming. This rental moratorium is ending.
Yeah.
What is going to happen? Like, can you tell us, predict the future?
We're pretty good predict.
Because it feels
I think it's
people
already
are getting
happened
very
to a degree.
stressed out. Yeah.
I think probably a bigger issue than that, and Jamie, who we've had on a couple of times I've spoken to, we're not having the release of properties because of this building stimulus last year. The people that are building right now, because of building delays, aren't moving out of their home into their new home yet. Until that comes, they're still going to be very, very tight on the rental side of things. If you're moving interstate, typically if you're changing jobs, and a lot of people are just moving over, not just mining related, plumbers, plasterers, whatever it may be, to get a loan, you can't typically get one in. You've got to be in a job for a bit of a time. So I think until they actually get secured, move over, and they start to get into the market, it's going to be like this for a while. But I don't think the rental, I think it's going to make much difference. I think it's already happened.
Yeah, I agree.
Let me read this. This was an article that came out yesterday, and Rich,
Probably
I
gonna
wouldn't mind your
contradict
opinion
everything
on
I've
this
just
one. No, it's not. But it says how WA could release the pressure valve and instantly increase properties for rent by 50%. Did you guys say this? Perth's historic low of available rental properties, which I think is at 0.7% at the moment, could instantly increase by 53% if investors bought and rented 1,600 apartments for sale in some of the city's most attractive suburbs. They're talking about particularly Mount Pleasant, Applecross, East Perth, Cannington, Freo. So those apartments are sitting empty and unsold, and the developers won't rent them out because then they can't sell them as new. But they're there.
Yeah. Look, it's a tough one because, and I'm starting to see these articles again. Every time there's a boom or bust in WA, it says poor tenant, my rent went up 50%. We're not back to where they were in 2014.
No.
The rents, prices are getting there. But it's, what they don't say is, what about that person, and we'll use West Perth as an example, and Richard could probably attest to this, even the city agent, you're seeing some penthouses go for, say, 1.4. they're selling for 800,000. So whilst it's easy to say, the greedy landlord and what have you, this situation is a lot of investors have been burnt by the apartment market. So to simply say, I'll jump in and we'll give you incentives and what have you, NRAS was incentive based, and ask the people now that are still 100 grand less than what they paid, because everything's factored in. It's still going to be good value. And I think some of these quick schemes, and I think the building grants was one, for example, people probably paid more than, they did pay more than they were going to build year before, about what their bonus was, the 45 grand.
Yeah.
So no one's going to get anything for free.
No.
Are you finding investors are coming back into that apartment market?
They are. They're just starting to trickle back. Whereas, say, last year there might be, say, 20% of my market or the city market. I'd say, and other city agents would probably say the same. It's probably 30, 40%.
Eastern states, you're getting a bigger influx?
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely. Sight unseen, or they have family over here that are willing to inspect and purchase. Definitely.
I think that's because they haven't been burnt by... So again, Eastern States based, and we spoke to Mark Anderson. Really good analogy. If you don't have a property, you're going to pay more. You need a home. The people here have been burnt. They're still not confident just to jump in yet. I think there's good momentum.
Yeah. And also part of it too, Shane, is that, I think when the market sort of, really got some oxygen is, good on you, Lana.
I saw that one.
Yeah. I think as the market got some oxygen is like investors want to buy well. And they were being gazumped by the emotive buyer, those that needed homes. They were paying the emotive value, the fear of loss value, and that's sort of the gap between that and the investors is there, and that will start as that gets soaked up. The investors start to say, "Okay, now it's better." Because what does investors say? It's got to be good value, and that'll start.
The numbers need to stack.
Yeah.
Take emotion out of it.
Yeah.
And obviously with interest rates, they're going to stack.
But that article was interesting. So if they did provide some stimulus in the established market for investors, I think they would hop back in. Whether it's
investors or first home buyers also.
First home buyers as well.
I think that's important too.
The 4 to 500.
Because that will free, naturally, if you can give incentive to buy second hand, it will free up property
Huge, major.
to be rented. And that's what we had again last time.
Yeah. Once again, it comes back to the stamp duty warhorse, doesn't it? It gives them relief on stamp duty, and they'll come marching into town.
Very last question for you guys. We kind of touched on this in your segment earlier, Ross, but obviously there's a lot of buyers missing out. There's a lot of tenants very, very stressed out at the moment. We did ask some agents around Perth their advice to buyers or tenants who are continuing to miss out at the moment.
We could sell a property 5 times over if we had stocks available. So it's super, super hot right now.
We've seen a massive surge in first home buyers.
We've got buyers scratching down our doors, wanting to be first on the list to view anything that comes on the market. Really working hard with our buyer database to make sure that they get the heads up alert as soon as a property is listed and matching people correctly.
We do tell them that if they have seen a property they really like, not to hesitate too long, because sometimes people want to keep looking because they think a better house is going to come on the market.
We're giving preferential treatment to upcoming listings.
We're letting them know to get to the home opens, to make sure they make it, to make sure they're on other agents, on all agents' sites to be able to receive alerts, and to make sure they have their finance in order and they actually draw a line in the sand as to what they're comfortable to pay.
It's just that there's so many buyers and there's such a shortage of stock that even when you approach those people and say, look, I've got someone that will pay you 10 or 15 or 20% more, they know that they're going to be in the same boat when they go out into the marketplace to find something, that A, there might not be something, and then B, if there is, they're going to have to pay a premium to get in there.
What would your one piece of advice be to those group of people?
It's about preparation.
Yeah.
You've got to be prepared. Do all your homework, get all your ducks lined up so you can put your strongest foot forward. That's it. If you're going sort of ill-prepared and not ready to be able to make a decision there and then, you're just on the back foot, be it buying or selling. And probably the rental market, whilst we're on that, is a really important thing, because the easier you make it, looking to rent a property, the easier you make it for that property manager to process your application, the higher it's going to go in the pile.
Is a pet CV a must?
100. I agree. Anything and everything. I know it was a funny thing that came out the Reva thing. One of our ladies has put it out in a newsletter. It's so true. Just make it easy for the property manager to process your application.
And I think no different to in that situation, make your offer as attractive as possible.
Yeah.
But I try and say to first home buyers, some of them missing out on 2-3 grand. Like you have, in my opinion, a third chance of getting into the market. 2007 you missed it, 2014. This is the third chance. Anywhere else around the country, you're never getting back in. And we're getting buyers from Eastern States buying for their kids who are like 15 going, I don't think they'll ever get a home. So don't get caught up in 2 or 3 grand. Pay what you're willing to pay. If someone wants to pay more than you, but that was your threshold, well, walk away knowing you've given it your best shot. But don't put the cheeky offer in at 500,000. When you're willing to pay 520, you will not get that option.
I spoke to Nick from Deathridge Groves the other day, and he said he's saying to buyers, you don't know what you want to pay, but what won't you pay? What's your top, what's your absolute, what won't you pay? And then let's work backwards from that.
We say, well, it's the same sort of thing. We say to people, what's your walk away figure?
Yeah.
What if you put something on the table and are you happy to walk away for $1 more? And then you're there.
If you found out in 12 months' time, 6 months' time, what it went for, and you would have paid that, well, you've only got yourself to blame.
Yeah.
But what we sold in November, December, that we thought was monster prices, is good buying now.
Yeah. Remember, quality's long remembered after price is forgotten, Jess. Just saying.
On that note, once again,
I guess you
outro
forget
by
that.
Ross.
You like that?
Rich, we're on to you. We're on to our hood highlight. Come on
There
down.
he is, the big Rich himself. Yes.
Thank you.
We are in West Perth,
Is
so
he
it
the
makes
new host
sense
for Sunrise?
to have... Are you?
Could be. Thank you.
What? Is there a new host? I'm confused.
Oh, don't
I
worry
don't watch
about it. Move on.
television.
Sam
Sorry.
Armitage gone,
Yeah.
but I don't know if he's going to play
Well,
second.
you know, you never know.
Oh, okay.
Him and Koshi.
Natalie Barr. No?
No, she's there now. She
Okay,
hasn't been
anyway.
replaced direct.
Rich itself, number one agent in West Perth. Tell us, Rich, about the market here in West Perth. We briefly touched on it earlier.
Thanks, Ross.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ross.
Have we left anything for you to talk about?
Compared
Yes.
to kind of 6 months ago, where's West Perth sitting now?
Yeah, so right now there's, like all suburbs, less stock. There's definitely more activity. And like I mentioned before, investors are just starting to come back. So 6 months ago, we were still like, okay, things are moving, carrying, say 25 listings, which would be sort of at my outer limit, for instance. And all of a sudden, everything just starts shifting. And at reasonable prices or prices higher than what the person paid last time, if it was only 2 or 3 years ago they purchased. So it's a changed market for sure, improved.
We're obviously sitting in a display suite of a new development. 40 units will be coming on here. How much of this kind of new activity is happening in West Perth?
Not enough. So there has been some developments that have tried to get off the ground in the last sort of 4 years, and they get development approval, or there's an announcement that there's going to be something there, and then it never goes anywhere. So it's refreshing to be here and seeing this. This should be successful. I think it's well on its way. So that which will be great.
What's the demographics like? Because I think of West Perth, like you said, I think of kind of CBD office area. What are the demographics? Is it mainly professional couples that live around here?
It sounds good, professional couples close to the city, but generally not. It's because it's so affordable now, it has shed 40%, 30%. It's a lot of first home buyers. Heaps of first home buyers with their parents, all cautious about buying an apartment. But then the lifestyle is so premium compared to other areas that the apartment makes sense at those prices for first home buyers. And because investors have generally, like 6 years ago, they left in droves, then you get professional couples, you get people that want to be close to the freeway. It's a whole mix. Doctors, nurses, it is a mixed bag in West Perth. And then you get the occasional downsizer. So, yeah.
The occupancy rates for businesses through the area, has that increased again?
Yeah, it has.
Typically, that's going to bring a lot of people too, because for a while it was like tumbleweed.
It was. So West Perth, I think they said at one point in time, was the worst office market in Australia. There was either 1 in 5 was for sale or for lease. And so with that, a lot of the tenants left in droves for the residential properties. Rents came down, and then the prices followed. So it was pretty...
Which is still surprising, because it's not like it's smart. West Perth's like you have to live there to work there, but it's so close to the city. Parking's easier.
Yep.
It's quite surprising.
You come up here on the weekend and there's still plenty of cafes.
It's mad.
It is, and so you compare that to, say, going to Leederville and you try and hunt for a parking spot. You can park directly out the front, get your coffee, drive through, or have a nice breakfast. So there's heaps in West Perth that people haven't really discovered or bother looking.
Do you think that's something that even as the city council, even the West Perth, I guess, community needs to sort of get behind? Because as you're saying that, Richard, I'm going, like our perception is West Perth, after 5 o'clock, sort of,
Dead.
she shut down. And maybe there's an opportunity to let people know that it is alive. It has, there is all these things available.
That started happening. So a few years ago, West Perth Local was formed, similar to the one they've got in East Perth, and Highgate, not Highgate, Mount Hawthorn has one, Connect, or whatever they call them. And that was chaired by John Kerry, the local member for Parliament. So he's been massive in pushing that, and it is changing, it is happening. I mean, there's a huge residential population that live here, and they all go out their door for coffee in the morning. Some just leave the area completely, but if you spend enough time up here, you realise there's plenty here.
It's good. I mean, John Kerry's obviously come from kind of Mount Lawley, being local there, and that has that great little hub. So it's good having someone
bringing
with
that vibrancy
background to bring it through. Beautiful. Any other questions?
Have you been to Villa Diaz since they moved?
No, but so Zaffarano's up here now.
Well, I'm asking the questions.
Oh, sorry.
Is that going or what? Have you heard it's going?
What's that?
I'm putting you on the spot. That's the institution of West Perth.
Yeah.
And you haven't been there?
No, I've been to Villa Diesta, but it's now Zaffarano.
Yeah.
Hasn't it moved?
It's gone. I don't know where it is.
Well, Zaffarano come from the old brewery.
Correct.
So where's Villa Diaz?
I think they moved on.
Shane had a baby and lost touch.
Yeah. You haven't been out in a while.
So Rich,
Perugino's is still here.
Yes, Perugino's is here.
That's West Perth.
Yeah, Mayfair Lane.
Tell me very quickly, because there's a pocket kind of right next to Leederville on the other side of the freeway that's West Perth as well, right?
Yep, it is.
So do people kind of, how do they...
That is a very separate neighbourhood to here.
Yeah.
So it's West Perth, but it's more Leederville, North Perth, and it's a completely different type of home.
It's crazy how it fits in.
It is. The city of Perth does zigzag around out
Is that
there.
near Car Street?
Yeah.
Car Street?
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting little spot. Lots of character
Yeah,
houses
West
and
End
terraces and townhouse developments and things like that.
It is more that Bulwer Street sort of vibe than what's happening.
Definitely.
Mate, just come back to the office commentary you had before, which is obviously really intriguing, from a vacancy rate 1 in 5 a few years back. Do you know where the office vacancy rate's at, or are we seeing an influx of buildings, lease signs go up at the moment? What's your street feel?
Yeah, on the street, it's anecdotal just from seeing signboards and some of the bigger leases being taken out. I mean, it's changed, it's better, but I don't know what the stat is. You can just see all the signs leased and half stickers.
I mean, that's the greatest
before,
thing, seeing what on the street, what you feel.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Beautiful. Thanks for that, Rich. Very interesting.
Worries.
He's quite knowledgeable.
He's quite knowledgeable, yeah. We asked him on for a reason.
I've been up here for 16 years. I'm part of the
The
furniture.
only person for a while.
Yeah.
16 years.
Yeah.
God.
So you're based in you're still based in
started working out.
Claremont, yeah.
It's really about self-discipline.
Did you have an office here?
We do. We've got an office on Outram Street, but that's mainly our property management team.
Yeah.
So I use it as a satellite office to meet clients and pick up and drop stuff off. So it's just
Cool.
Beautiful.
good.
Roscoe,
Yeah.
it's on to you.
Oh,
This is
Rich, we've talked about real estate. You know the drill. We've talked real estate, and now Ross wants to know what you had for breakfast.
Well, I actually know Richard's dietary sort of program. Yeah, I do.
I can send you my food plan.
Yeah, he measures by the gram everything he eats.
Mostly.
Well,
That
this is
sounds a
why
bit
he
obsessive.
looks 18,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
don't.
Whoa, Shane,
Right.
that's your cue to jump in,
can't
mate.
defend-
Right, mate. So far, a few get to know Richard questions. Career highlight thus far.
I did think about this before, so it's tricky. So I think career highlights would be, there's no better feeling than selling a property at auction, and this is not to brown nose whatever, but I truly believe
Feel free.
the vibe on the day and the nothing better than selling it under the hammer, the sold sticker, the seller's usually stoked, the buyers are happy, and it's all in an open public environment. So you're doing an offer and acceptance out there in the open and everyone knows what's going on.
Yeah.
And it captures the market in your neighbourhood.
Yeah.
So off the back of that,
Is that you backtrack?
Huh?
Is that you backtracking?
Never.
but off the back of that, it would have been a career highlight if my buyer I represented at your auction on Riley Road would have got that. That was almost a highlight for me.
Well, mate,
you've done it now.
It was almost. You did help that seller achieve a premium, but it was a damn good auctioneer that
was.
put it all together.
I'm going to make it a rule that our guests aren't allowed to brown nose Ross anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. Mate, when COVID eventually is over, we can do some travel wherever it is. What would be I'm going there?
I think Japan. So I haven't done a ski trip to Japan just yet.
Yeah, nice.
But I was lucky enough before COVID came, we had a family wedding in Portugal, so we spent 4 weeks over there, and I can highly recommend that. Most people tack it on to the end of Spain, but to go there for 4 weeks and have a great time, highly recommended. But Japan's where it's at for me, skiing.
Cool. Now, mate, you're a busy man. Kids, action, dietary preparation, planning. Mate, we know you're a busy man, but when you do get a moment, if you watch Netflix, what can you recommend
I think, I love Schitt's Creek.
Yeah.
That has been a highlight for me.
So good.
Yeah.
How could a man that weighs his food watch Schitt's Creek?
But last night I did start watching Shadow Play.
Oh, I've heard about this actually, but I haven't watched it.
Okay.
It's worth a watch. I think I'm only one episode in, so I think it's more of a pick coming up, but it's based in Berlin in 1946, post-war.
Oh, that'd be
so it's quite interesting.
Shadow Play.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Mate,
check it out.
Biggest fear?
Other than no listings.
Yeah.
Being in the same spot, say, within 10 years. So as you get a bit older, I think if I was 50, because that's the next marker, and not really progressed in my career, that would be a disaster. But on a more lighter side, I'm shit scared of heights.
Okay.
So
interesting for a guy that's 6'5".
Yeah. You won't be coming back for the 10-year reunion.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, interesting. Mate, you're busy. It's a busy, like, world that we live in. What's your decompression chamber? What do you do to...
I'd love to say something like I play golf for relaxation, but
you're an ex-professional golfer.
Yeah, it's not relaxing. So in all honesty, I would go home, probably unload that on the wife, and then I'd take the dog for a walk around College Park.
So what your wife?
Yeah, what do you unload on your wife?
All the work drama that goes on with the day in real estate.
Do you still play golf every week?
Not every week.
Okay.
Yeah, no, not
quite.
Enough time.
I didn't know that, but I think if you're good at anything and then you're not playing well,
it
can be pretty unfair.
Yeah, no, you don't want to do it.
You don't go call auctions on the weekend just for the fun of it, do you?
No.
Yes,
Never.
you do.
Mate, we normally ask, this is actually for the benefit of Shane, places to eat. Is in particular, we like to find out the best places to get a nice veal cutlet. Best place to eat in West Perth? And potentially it has a veal cutlet.
Yeah.
I would 100% say, and this is a bit of a dark horse, would be Mayfair Lane.
Hey, steak?
They do steak. They've
Incredible
got a
wine
pork
list.
cutlet on the menu at the moment. They've got a fantastic wine list.
I've been wanting to go there.
And they go above and beyond. I mean, they host wine, champagne nights, whiskey,
Mayfair
gin.
Lane?
Yep.
Okay.
It's a class act.
Okay.
Good call.
We haven't heard that before.
No, I've been really wanting to try
Heard the
it.
wine list is unbelievable.
Really? Okay.
There you go.
Thanks, mate.
Excellent.
No worries.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Rich.
Thanks for having
Thank you very
me.
much. We're on to our last segment, which is Play of the Week. And if no one brings me anything, I'm scrapping this segment. I'm sick of it.
The only play of the week's got, which you mentioned at the beginning of the show.
It's got to be Shane.
It's got to be Shane with the young Sienna coming into the world. I think that's...
Yes, no.
That's,
appreciate Sam
no
helping
greater
me
player
in the
than that.
process.
Yeah, the wife contributed.
She did.
Good, mate.
She's done really well.
She did a good job.
She would play the week.
Look, he's the proud doting father.
Congratulations.
Good on you, mate.
Beautiful. All right.
We're done.
So I'm not scrapping that segment?
No.
Next week, something's going to happen.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Could be controversial.
Oh, okay.
Maybe we look for next week Player of the Week. Maybe if there's some moves in the real estate.
I was going to say, well,
Just like
I've got
someone
should we
moving
make it
agencies.
movers and shakers instead?
Bit of, I think that'd be interesting.
We might bring movers and shakers in and just Play of the Week. We'll
And
just
then we could move towards State of Origin. We could play the best agents, have like a starting, like netball, 7 and 7, and see who's coming in and out of the team, north and south.
Like draft week.
like fantasy league for real estate.
Do you guys remember,
Fantasy
did you ever
agency.
read the paper Heard on the Terrace, who was moving, the
Yeah,
whispers?
yeah.
Kind of like that.
That was good.
That was good.
Good.
All
On
right.
the terrace. The
Well,
bull and the something.
Yeah.
Tips. Call crib. We're very discreet. Tips and tricks.
Next time you do profile pics, someone's
and
moving, it'll be,
Tips
no
and
one
tricks.
knows this yet, they've just had profile pics done.
The things we know. The things we know.
She's never seen that.
All right. That's it. That's
Done.
the show.
That was good.
That was it. That was it. That was good. Thanks once again to the team behind Palazzo and IQIWA for hosting us here today in this beautiful suite. Thanks to the agents who spoke to us for our Vox Pop, who we featured earlier. And thanks to Rich for his time today.
Thanks for coming,
Thank
mate.
you. No worries. Thanks for
I
having
gave
me.
him absolutely no preparation and no warning, so
It's
he's
natural.
absolutely nailed
Natural.
it.
Yeah, it has.
We'll see you for the next episode. Thank you.
See you guys. Bye.